And we are live on another edition of All In on High School Sports. Kurt Valenti, Jennifer Valenti, how are you?
I'm good. Good evening. How are you?
Good. I want to give a shout out one more time to our good friends at Lyndhurst for last Friday night, allowing us to do an all-in game day. Awesome experience. The guys were great there. And Lyndhurst had a huge win. Congratulations to Coach Twirl and the boys for winning their division in the NJIC.
Yeah, no, very exciting atmosphere. I mean, you said it best. It was just fun to be there. It's like what high school sports is all about. You could feel it in the atmosphere. You know, the band playing in the background, the cheerleaders, the crowd. It was senior night. It was a big game. It was everything you would want in high school athletics. So yes, shout out to all of them for, like I said, making our job there very easy. And it was fun for us to go there and do that pregame live.
Some big games last week, huge games this week. We have one of our guests probably in the game of the week this week, which we will be picking last tonight. But what else? What's on the agenda tonight?
So tonight we are going to welcome DePaul Catholic football coach Nick Campanelli, and he's going to be joined by two of his players, Derek Zammit and Nolan James. We'll get them in a moment. And before we bring them in and officially introduce them, just a little reminder of some upcoming content that we have available on our page. Let's do our K&K slate. We have tomorrow night, your regular K&K show. Kurt will be doing a Broncos show. I'm not going to give too much away, but I'm going to call it a rant session on Wednesday evening.
We can't talk to Coach Campanelli about Dolphins any tonight. Make sure he doesn't mention that, please.
The 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, because it airs 8 o'clock in Colorado for your Colorado audience, right? And then Thursday, Wits and Wagers. And then Claws and Clams do a Saturday morning one, and Kenny and Paul will be doing a giant show on Monday evening ahead of the Monday night football game, correct?
Yes.
We're pleased to continue to present our All In on specific high schools. We had All In on West Essex Sports with Sophia, our intern from West Essex. She did West Essex girls soccer last night. Tomorrow evening, we will be having All In on St. Mary Sports, where Gabby will be welcoming some players on the St. Mary football team. All In on Kearney Sports on Thursday evening, where our intern Natalie we're interviewing Coach Silpak and his first, second, and third singles players from the tennis team. And Sean, our intern at Becton, will return on Thursday night as well with All In on Becton Sports. He'll sit down with some of his teammates from the Becton football team. So lots of good stuff coming our way. It's our pleasure to be able to work with the interns. They're doing a great job. And yeah, we just love doing what we're doing and watching it grow and covering more teams, more student athletes, and more programs.
Couple comments. Kenny Kirkpatrick will be on live tonight with his weekly picks. Good evening, everyone. Looking forward to another amazing episode this evening. And Coach Joe Breslin, good evening, Jenny and Kurt. Looking forward to a great show.
Awesome. Thanks for checking in. We will also welcome Kenny, will be coming in live later. And then we usually do his picks that you've taken via phone. But we're also going to welcome a guest that we had last year, Robert Sauerwein, who is, going to talk a little bit about Westwood football, who he's been following and always follows very closely. So without further ado, should we get to our
who's our main guest tonight? You didn't even say it.
I did say it.
Did you? I was tagging. I wasn't paying
attention. You were otherwise
the state champs are in the house.
Exactly. You give away my intro.
That's
but
okay.
Let's bring them in. Let's bring in Coach Campanelli and his players, and then I will officially introduce them. All right, we are joined by Coach Nick Campanelli. This is Coach Campanelli's third season at the helm of the DePaul Catholic football program. In 2021, his first year as head coach, the Spartan made an appearance in the non-public B finals. Last season, 2022, his team returned to the finals and captured the non-public B championship. His team competes in the United White Division of the Super Football Conference, and they're off to a 2-2 start this season and currently ranked number 3 in New Jersey. He is joined by sophomore quarterback Derek Zammit, who's a returning letter winner from last year's championship squad. Derek has 717 passing yards on the season thus far, and we are also joined by junior running back Nolan James. Nolan has run for a team-leading 608 yards rushing in 4 contests this season. He's a transfer from Don Bosco, where he rushed for 782 yards total during his freshman and sophomore campaigns. Coach, when you guys have a resume like that, it's going to take me a while to get through. So welcome, Coach, and welcome, guys.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having us on.
Thank you again, Coach, for coming. I think this is Coach's like 3rd or 4th time now. He's getting up there. Well, Coach, I'll just start with you. I read an article after your first loss this year to, I believe it was Bishop McDevitt.
McDevitt. Right.
I want to say you used the word, you were like sick after that game or something to that. So I guess my question is, after that tough loss, what was your, what did you tell the team and how did they respond after that loss to, to whatever you explained to them?
I just told them, we didn't get off to a great start last year either, just to be resilient. And they are just an incredibly resilient group. And we really didn't bat an eye. I mean, they showed up Monday ready to work, it really didn't waste a second on it. We got right back to work. And I think we've gotten better every day since. That was certainly a tough one, though, man. We let it slip through our fingers. But we'll get over it.
My question is for Derek. Derek, last season you were asked to step in for an injured starting quarterback, and as a freshman you led your team to a non-public B title. How did last year's experience help you prepare for this season?
It definitely helped me for this season because stepping in week one, it wasn't brand new to me, and I knew how varsity football worked, and I felt a lot more comfortable with the guys. Spending the rest of last season with them. It just helped me throughout the week knowing how to prepare for a game, and I felt a lot more comfortable in my spot.
And then did you feel like a lot more comfortable even running the offense as well?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely got to learn a lot more last year, in varsity, rather than being a freshman. I got to spend a lot of time with Coach Campen, Coach Nova, who's our offensive coordinator this year, and they definitely taught me the offense, and I definitely feel really comfortable in it this year.
Nice.
Nolan, I'm going to go to you. And it's funny that you guys are playing Bergen Catholic this week because I remember last year watching the Bosco Bergen game. And I just remember saying to Jen, like, oh my God, like you got to watch this sophomore. Like this kid's unreal. And that was like one of, obviously you had a lot of games, but that was a big breakout game, big stage and everything like that. And obviously when you decided to leave Don Bosco, you probably could have went anywhere, right? I mean, you had that talented kid. So my question is, why DePaul? Why did you choose DePaul?
I had a couple options, but DePaul was Coach Camp was always my favorite coach growing up, and I've known him my entire life, and it was just the more I thought about it, it was the best place that I thought I'd be comfortable at, and I knew a lot of the guys on the team, and I figured that I would just fit right in, and I have, so I think it was the best decision.
Awesome. I'm going to come right back to you. Over 100 yards so far every game this season. Why has the run game, in your opinion, been so successful so far this year?
Two reasons: offensive line and the threat out wide, Des, Elijah, and Derek. That really opens it up for me.
Coach, I'm going to come back to you. I have two questions. My first one is you can start with the two players who've joined you on the panel, but could you also highlight some players on both sides of the ball that have been impact players on this year's squad?
Sure, absolutely. Obviously the two guys here, Derek's an incredibly talented young guy. I couldn't believe when he got in there last year how much poise he had on top of his ability. It was very, very rare. And I haven't really come across another guy like him. And I've been doing this quite a while, so obviously he is who he is. And Nolan, he couldn't ask for a better kid. And what a huge addition he's been for us. It really kind of balanced out our offense having a back like him to go along with the talent we have on the outside and a quarterback, and obviously up front too. So I guess some other guys that we have, obviously Des Jones is an unbelievable talent. He's off to another great start in his junior season. Elijah Burris, who Nolan had mentioned earlier, is an incredibly talented receiver as well. Zach Padron, our tight end. Michael Knox, another tight end for us. We have a number of really talented guys on the offensive side, and the offensive line is the best group we've had here in a long time as well. So it's a really good unit on the offense. They really work well together. They get along with each other, and it's a pleasure to coach. Defensively, we've had some other guys really step up this year. Deshaun Stewart is a guy that comes to mind. He's a corner who's really coming to his own here in his junior year. Ali Saidu, our free safety, is a great player as well. And then on the D line and at linebacker, we got some other guys really, really stepping up. Paul Vidal played, I feel like, his best game Friday night. And Jeremy Lopez, a captain for us, another guy who's off to a great start. So we got a really good core group of talented guys that really enjoy playing with one another.
Awesome. And coach, my next question for you is, you're defending champs in the non-public B. Do you feel like you guys have a target on your back this year? And how do you help your players overcome that obstacle?
Yeah, we probably do. When it comes to playoff time, I'm sure everybody's gonna, want to knock down the returning champ. But we really try not to think about it much at all. In our league, everybody's got a target on their back. And everybody's so good week in and week out. You really don't have time to sit back and think about that stuff. It's really just about preparing as best you can every week for a battle, and that's what it's been. I mean, our schedule, I would put it up against anybody in the country up to this point, and playing the number one team in New Jersey on Saturday, so it ain't getting any easier. So yeah, there's a target on our back for sure.
Coach, we got our comment from our good friend Robert, who's going to be on with us in a little bit. Talk Westwood. He's saying, when the brothers face each other this weekend, who does their father choose? Just curious.
That's a good question. I talked to him the other day. He's not even coming to the game.
Oh.
He doesn't want to watch. So I don't think he's going to make a choice, but he's going to stay out of this one.
All right, I'm going to go to Derek. When you look at like football and pro level, especially, sometimes they'll say, okay, who are the triplets, right? Like they talked about, you probably don't even remember this because you guys weren't born, but it was always like with the Cowboys, Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, and Emmitt Smith. You got the quarterback, receiver, and you got the running back, and you guys do, right? Derek, you got yourself, like he said, you got Des outside, and now you got Nolan. How nice is it to have this much talent around you as a quarterback, and how much easier does it make the game for you?
Yeah, it definitely takes a lot of pressure off me. I feel like I don't have to do too much. As long as I get the ball on time, go through my reads, and even outside of Dez, obviously he's a great player, but we have Elijah, we have Zach, we have Michael, Mason. We have a lot of guys that I feel comfortable getting the ball to all of them. So as long as I get the ball out of my hands and make throws, let them get out and do what they do, and then obviously. Nolan just being able to hand the ball to him, that's great as well. And he also opens up plays in the play action game too. So,
Nolan, I'm going to come back to you. Let's talk about your upcoming game against Bergen Catholic. You've got the non-public A reigning champ versus the non-public B reigning champ. Number 1 in the state versus number 3 in the state. Brother versus brother. How big is this game to you, to your teammates, and to your school?
Yeah, and it's a big game. I mean, for me, I played in a lot of big games throughout my career. I mean, I've been on varsity since freshman year. So for me, I'm just trying to treat it as like just another game. I played in a lot of big games, and it's obviously like the big rivalry right now. It's 1 and 3 in the state, and it's a big game, but we're just going to treat it just like another game.
Nice.
Coach, I know we talked a little bit about this when we had you on with Vito last year after you guys won, but it's not just brother versus brother, right? I mean, your nephew is the quarterback for a team you're playing this week. So can you just tell people a little how hard, obviously you have a job, your job is to coach DePaul, and that's your job number 1, but you're rooting for your nephew to fumble, to throw an interception. You're scheming up to confuse your nephew. For people who are watching and just, think, oh, it's no big deal. I mean, how hard is that for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's as hard as it gets. I could play against my brother. I've done that numerous times now. I'm practically used to that at this point. But my nephew, that's a tough one. He's my godson. I've been literally training him and working with him since the day he was born, to play quarterback. So it's hard. Half of me wants to root for him, but Saturday, obviously, that won't be the case. It's really, really hard. It's not something I can really describe or put into words, but I in a way I hope he plays great like I always do, but obviously I want us to win the game, so it's tough.
Okay. Oh, and I'm gonna go to everybody for this one. I'll start with Nolan on this. This is a big game, like Jen said, number 1 versus number 3, and you guys, even like Coach Campanelli said, your schedule second to none. But how important is it for you guys to be able to play with a Bergen Catholic and beat a Bergen Catholic? Like beat the Bergens, beat the Boscos, beat the Joes when you get a chance to play with them. So now you're considered, you're right up there, even though you're the smaller. I mean, we're saying the smaller group, but personally, I think these are the 2 best teams in the state. That's my opinion, and I'll be honest. I think you guys are that talented. But how important is it for you to get a win versus a Bergen Catholic, and what would that do for the program, Nolan?
Yeah, that's super big. Even for all the big non-public A's, because we don't get a chance to play them in the playoffs. So the time we do get to play them in the regular season, those are always must-win situations, and because we don't get to play them twice. If Bergen plays Bosco, they always get to play twice. So this is a must-win game.
No, that's, you know what? That's a great point that he meant, like you're saying, you guys played them, you played them, they didn't get a chance to play, like this is your only chance for them. So that's a great point, Nolan. Derek, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously these are all big games. I mean, like you said, we only get to play them once. So, you know, being called like, these teams, little brothers, little cousins, just because we're little, DePaul Catholic, we kind of take that personal, and we definitely have a chip on our shoulder going into these games. And a lot of people, don't expect us to win and don't expect us to be able to compete with the big non-public A schools. But I feel like we definitely can. I feel like we're very talented, all around the ball. So.
Coach, what about you? Same thing?
Yeah, obviously, every game in this league is huge, like I said earlier, but, it's always been my dream and my vision for this program to be as good as anyone in the state and to ultimately maybe one day compete in the non-public A, group. So, this is a great opportunity for us to show that we belong there. And, we've kind of felt that way for a little while now, but this is the best opportunity we've had to prove that on the big stage. So, yeah, all the games are big, but sure, this one is certainly as big as well.
All right, guys, before we let you go, we have a couple of quick rapid fire questions for you. So, Kurt, you're going to start it off?
Yeah, I'll start off. Nolan, who's your favorite football team?
Ravens.
All right. Believer in Lamar Jackson?
Very much so.
Okay. Derek, what about you?
Giants, sadly.
I'm going to ask you the question I ask all my friends here. Do you think Daniel Jones is worth $40 million?
$40 million is a lot of money. I think he's definitely. I think he's a good football player, but $40 million is a lot of money.
Okay, and coach, please don't say the Dolphins on this one, please. I had to deal with that on Sunday. I mean, that was just brutal. That was just. Please tell your brother and Coach McDaniels. I mean, they could have scored 90. Probably. It was like so embarrassing. But Miami, is that your favorite team? Do you want to say Miami?
My brother would disown me if I said otherwise.
All right, would you say right now legit Super Bowl contenders?
I think so. Yeah, I really do. Everybody's talking about the offense, but they're playing some defense too. My brother coaches the linebackers down there, and they've made some huge improvements in the last couple of weeks in the run game, and I think they got a great shot. I really do. I think it's the best team they've had in a very long time.
Nice.
Awesome. My rapid fire guys, do you have like a pregame ritual? Is there something you do every game, or do you like to listen to music? Do you like silence? What's your pregame ritual? Nolan, what's your pregame stuff like?
Yeah, I'm a very superstitious person, so I have a lot that I had probably too many to even get through, but I do have a routine, and yeah, the biggest one, I eat fruit snacks at halftime every game. That's probably the biggest one.
Nice. How about you, Derek?
Yeah, I talk to my dad before every game in the car before I get out. He gives me kind of like a pregame little speech every time, and then I definitely pop my headphones on, listen to music. I have a stretch routine that I always do. I try to get on the field, an hour and a half even before pregame, just to start stretching, before the game. And then I always pray before games. So.
Very nice. How about you, Coach?
I throw up before every game. And the bigger the game, the more I throw up.
Oh my God!
So Saturday I'll be puking. I guarantee that.
You were the first. I think he's obviously the first coach that's ever. Any player. We actually know when I was at St. Mary's, we had a kid that did that every day on the field right before you had him. I swear to God, we're like, see, where is he lining up? Where is he in the warm up line? And just stand on the other side because I'm not going near that line.
It's like a Campanelli trait too. I'm not the only. My brothers do it too. We're all
So there'll be
weak stomachs.
Both sides of the field.
Stay away from it, right?
Too funny. I have one. We've been working a lot with some interns who are hosting their own shows, and I thought you had a good one last night. The pet peeves. I'm going to steal that one from Sophia. What's your biggest pet peeve? It does not have to be football related. Just anything pet peeve that you have. Nolan.
Mine is football related. It's
Okay.
It sounds kind of crazy, but when I have my headphones on pregame and people still feel the need to ask me questions that probably don't need to be asked, that one really, really bothers me.
I love it. How about you, Derek?
Yeah, I'm the same as Nolan. When I have my AirPods in and I'm like locked in, don't talk to me. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I need to lock in. I get to, I need to get done what I need to get done. So when people try to like distract me from what I'm doing, that definitely gets me mad.
Too funny. How about you, Coach?
I have to keep that in mind for these two guys. I don't know. That's a tough one. Pet peeve. Refs. I don't like official bad refs.
Derek, I got one. I got a question for Derek. Last year, it became a little. This was the question, and nobody got it until our good friend Coach Sis got it. When we were, I think it was before you were got. It might have been when you guys were playing for the state championship, and we were saying, "Wow, he's going to be a freshman, possibly winning a state championship." We asked, "Was there ever a quarterback in New Jersey who did it as a freshman?" Do you know who that player was before you, Derek?
Was it? Is it who I think it is?
Ooh.
I don't know. Actually,
Was it?
I feel like I should know though.
No, it was like it was a
no,
kid.
no.
You shouldn't, Coach.
Yeah.
Do you know? Because I remember we had the question and they looked it up. I want to say it was Madawan or like a quarterback. Like I want to say it was like a down. One kid did do it,
Oh wow.
and yeah, one kid did do it. And again, I'm not sure if he started like the year, but it might have been like Derek when he took over. But
Right.
Derek was the second kid because I was like, I don't remember anybody doing it. And I
Right.
think it was a kid from like Madawan or a school down there. So yeah, you were the second kid to. I mean, think about it, Coach. You coach for like
yeah.
you didn't know of anybody who did it.
I did not. No.
Yeah,
no,
I mean,
never.
it's not an easy
Great
thing to do.
accomplishment.
No. Mm-mm.
You know.
No.
Coach and Derek and Nolan, thank you so much for coming on tonight. We truly appreciate it. Good luck, not just this Saturday, but of course the rest of your season. We'll definitely be following and keeping up with you.
And we got to get to you guys and do a DePaul and all-in game night by do a pregame show by you guys. We did it with
No doubt.
Coach Vito last year. It was awesome.
Oh,
we did
yeah,
Lyndhurst this week, so we'd love to do something like that with you guys. But good luck. I mean, I can't wait to watch that game on Saturday, and good luck. Hope you guys get it done.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much for having us on.
Our
All right, have a good one, guys.
Good night, guys.
Okay, so DePaul Catholic in a huge game, and you know what? When we talk about them, Jen, we say, you heard what they said. You still have people saying, "Oh, you're not with the Joes and the Boscos and the thing," but this team is as talented as those teams, maybe even more on some of them. Like he's just saying, he was naming the other guys, but when you could put Desi out there, Nolan now behind there with Derek, I mean, that's a dynamic offense. Their defense always comes to play. Their defense is always good. And I'm going to be honest, we're going to pick this game later, but I mean, they have a legit chance to win this game. You know what I'm saying? Just looking at it like that. What was your thoughts on them?
I mean, we talk about all the time, the depth of their team. I want to talk about a little bit what, Derek and Nolan said. And I love how they both just, give credit to their teammates,
absolutely.
Nolan thanks his line, and makes the point that, when you ask the question about having like the triplets, right, that, my job is easier because, when they have to cover Desi at wide receiver, it opens it up for me. And, Derek says it's great to have these guys as my teammates to pay, it's just, but you see that like chemistry and that team.
Listen, we talk about it every week, Jen.
Way.
We joke around it, whether it's with the other guys on K&K, but when you could have that running game and you have a back like Nolan and that's offensive line is going to block what it sets up for that passing game, whether it's play action or, you have to bring extra guys in the box. The kids get averaging over 130 yards a game or whatever it is. He's such a great back. You have to stop the run first. Now that pass game opens it up. So, I mean, that's going to be just a dynamic offense over there at DePaul.
What would you like to do next? We do have Robert, our other guest, ready to go. And
okay.
Then, but I don't know if you wanted to do a little, you want to bring him in and then we'll do our other.
Yeah, let's
stuff?
do that.
Okay.
Let's do
All
that.
right. So let's bring Robert in here and we'll get him ready to go. And how do you want to set this one? Okay. Oops, sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, I will set it up like
Okay.
this and put Robert there.
Okay.
What's going on, Robert? How are you?
Oh, you know what? I'm going to have your audio.
I don't hear your audio, Robert. while we're setting up Robert. Just a couple of things, Jen.
Should we have him maybe go out and come
Yeah,
back in?
yeah.
Robert, I'm gonna remove you. Why don't you try to come back in? Okay. And then maybe the audio will work. Okay.
Who needs this win more this week? Bergen or DePaul?
I'm just gonna get these results in here while we're doing this from last week.
Okay, Jen.
Ooh, that's a great question. You threw me on that one. You didn't prep that one. You're going off script.
Yes.
Whew. You know what? Listen, Coach Campanelli said it. I mean, every game is important for all of those teams, you know, because of the competition that they play. You know, I'm going to say it's a little bit more, not that it's not important for one and not important for the other. I'm going to say Bergen because I have been making the point every week how I feel like their loss out of state earlier in the season is fueling them. You know, I just feel like a loss now would, you know, it would be a little harder for them. And the reason I say that is too, I can say I feel like DePaul, when they get to their non-public B competition in the States, like all this prep work, what they've done in their regular season really fuels them for their non-public B. I feel like it gives them that edge in the non-public B.
See, I'm going to go the other way. I think a little more for DePaul, just because like Nolan said, you know, at some point you want to beat those teams and stop. Again, not that it matters what people say, you know what I'm saying? But this is their chance to really prove, listen, you beat Bergen, you might be the best team in New Jersey.
Yeah.
You know? So Kenny's saying, I think DePaul, as if everyone else beats Bergen, they instantly get recognized as the team that beat Bergen. Okay, we'll bring in Robert.
Let's try that now. Hey, Robert, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
yes, we're back.
All right, here we go.
Good to see you. Welcome back.
Hey, Kurt and Jen, how are you guys doing?
Everything is good.
Yep, we are good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, Robert, you follow closely Westwood football. I'm actually going to bring up here. Oh, you know what? I just want to make sure it's still in. Yep, you sent us a picture today. I'm just going to bring it up here really quickly.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Great picture.
You know what? Again, we were talking about like what high school sports is all about at the beginning of the show when Lyndhurst, when we were live from Lyndhurst. And you know what? This just, epitomizes it as well. All your hard work coming to fruition in a state championship, right? You want to tell us a little bit about this picture, Robert?
Well, this is from last year. This is when Westwood defeated Rutherford 21-20. I don't know if anybody remembers that game because I was at the game. This is where it was 2 seconds to go. Actually, it was about 8 seconds to go in the game. Rutherford had the ball on the half-yard line, and they were about to perform a two-pointer to win the game. And Dario Matherin, who was then a sophomore for Westwood, stopped them on the line. And they didn't advance, and Westwood won the game, and the crowd jumped onto the field. And this is the picture afterwards. And if you really look at this picture, you see Coach Hart on the left, who just retired. That was his big win. Once he got this win, that's the first time I've seen Coach Hart smile, actually. I've never seen that man smile until that game. And then if you look at the center and the bottom, guess who that is? That's
Coach Guy,
who was now the current coach for
his successor. Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's a pretty cool picture. And a lot of those guys there are returning this year. So it's a really cool picture. It really is. We had a good time.
Nice. And you were at the Westwood game this past weekend, correct?
Yes, I was at the Westwood Mawa game, and of course Westwood dominated that game, and they won 35-0. Guys, I could only say one thing about Westwood this year. They look actually better than last year. I mean, they're really that good. I mean, if you got a couple of minutes, I could go over some of the stats about Westwood.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
Please
this is going to be mind-blowing. Well, the USA Today came out with their rankings this morning. They rated Westwood number 9 in the state. That's a phenomenal number. So they're number 9 in the state as far as public goes. So that's good. They're also number 1 in Group 2. That ranking just came out. So that's great. But here's the big one that everybody really doesn't really think about it. In the 5 games that Westwood has won, they're 5-0 this year. They scored 183 points, but they only gave up 19. So that's less than 4 points a game. That's just a crazy number. Last year's number, they scored 401 points and let go 63 points. So even you think that was a big number. This year, they may even break that. The way
Robert, we have a question from our good friend Kenny. He's
Yeah.
just, and I think, I mean, he's at, I don't know, he probably didn't hear you before, but he said, Westwood, do they have a lot of young men back this year, or are they mostly new players? You did say a lot of returning. On starters, would you say, how many starters would you say are back?
they have about 7 starters back from last year.
Okay.
So but a lot of them are from their defense. So that's why their defense is just so good this year. Last year they were pretty much the number 1 defense in the state. They were very close to it. So they brought back a lot of men on defense. One of them happens to be R.J. Usher. He's 6'1", 275 pounds. Kid is a phenomenal ball player. I mean, and they brought him back this year. He's a senior this year. He was a junior last year. So I would think the big one was the defense. But let's not give away the offense either, because of course they have Robbie Carcich.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's been talking about him. He's over 1,000 yards this year, 1,000 yards over. So you got Joey Klein on the offense, the senior, the 6-foot wide receiver. Aiden Carazana, another senior. He's a running back, which, by the way, I want to put a shout out to him. He had a pick 6 last week at the Mawa game, and he ran for 46 yards for a touchdown. Phenomenal player. And, like I said, between offense and defense, they're just unbelievable. I mean, I will tell you one thing. We met with a lot of us actually spoke to some of the coaches after the game. Coach Guy, this is his quote, by the way. I want to give this quote out to everyone. You really think about it. We take one game at a time. Robbie's my ace in the hole. He makes plays that are uncoachable, but extends the plays with great results. He makes things happen. I mean, I don't know how much more you can say about a player like that.
Right. Who doesn't want a player like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Robbie,
I'm sorry. And then I was going to mention the Mawa coach had said that he was going to take the tapes and bury them. So I don't know. He really said that. So I don't know. Again, Mawa went in 4-0. Westwood went in 5-0. I would have thought Mawa would put up a little bit, maybe a point or two, maybe 7, maybe 14, but Westwood was just too dominant.
Now let me ask you this. If I'm not mistaken, that game was 0-0 going into the second.
Yes.
Was that correct? So now did Mawa, like that, those first couple possessions, I mean, did Mawa stop Westwood? Did they move the ball, and then, what was the difference first quarter, and then everything just started happening?
It was interesting in that first quarter because it looked like Mawa was stopping them. But, I don't know if it was they were trying to feel each other out or seeing how each other were. Maybe they were looking at plays that they didn't see on tapes or, in the background. But, yeah, that first quarter was surprising because usually Westwood, every game Westwood has been playing, even from last year, right away, bing, bing, bing. They within the first couple of minutes, they have a score. It was unusual. It was unusual. Mawa, and I got to give a hand to Mawa. They did defensively stop them in the first quarter, but Westwood scored 3 touchdowns, including another touchdown 8 seconds before the half. So, they were just, and I thought maybe after the half was over, that Mawa would at least come out, but Westwood was just too defensively hard on them.
Robert, I want to talk about a little, we just had Coach Campanelli on with DePaul, and obviously we've had his brother on with parochial A and parochial B, and listen, those are different animals themselves, but this North 2 bracket, I know we still have a couple of weeks to look at, but I mean, you're talking about Westwood. I'll say Bernard's, they're in there 5-0, but Caldwell, Hanover Park, Lyndhurst, who we saw last week, phenomenal team. Rutherford is ranked 7th. And just like you said, they had a battle with Westwood last year. Again, Newton's always a great program. Pompton Lakes, Mawa, Duma. You got a team like Ramsey at 16, Becton at 15. I mean, this bracket is just insane.
This bracket is really insane. This bracket has 6 undefeated teams so far. Think about it. 6 undefeated teams. The other groups only have 1 or 2.
Yeah, you're talking about just looking at matchups, just like you said last year. It was, you went Westwood, Rutherford, and then it goes to Westwood, Caldwell. I mean, listen, there's a chance we're going to see that again.
Oh, you remember last year when we spoke about Caldwell? And let me tell you something. Caldwell's won 27 games in a row, guys.
I think it's 32, actually.
Is it 32?
Yeah,
I thought it was 27. Well, all I can tell you is it's got to be close to either a state record or they surpass a state record.
Yeah.
But Yeah, Kurt, I honestly believe right now that Westwood is a much better team than last year, but I think we're going to be facing Caldwell again. I really honestly think it's coming down to that again.
Yeah.
What's crazy is, like Kurt said, like when that bracket, when the North 1 and the North 2 shakes out, like how you get matchups that maybe like should be a final, but you see them in an earlier round. It's going to be interesting.
I don't know if you guys know, or maybe a couple of the audiences know, that we're not going to get into the playoffs right now because we still got a lot of games to go here. We got four more games. But I will say that the playoff situation is here is just a slightly different. It's going to be whoever it has a higher seed this time before the final.
Right.
So instead of these teams going to these schools like in Sussex or Plainfield or wherever they go in South Jersey, it'll be whoever seed it is. Interesting to see the seed between a Caldwell and Westwood if that actual game will go either to Westwood or Caldwell.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Makes a big difference. Yeah.
So, like I said, by the way, hats off to Lyndhurst. I've been watching them. I don't know what you guys are going to predict later on, but I'm telling you, if any team has got a shot against Rutherford, it is Lyndhurst.
Yep. I'm telling you, Rob, they were, we picked them last week. We did the all-in game day there at Lyndhurst, and watching them live. I mean, we watched them on film, but the physicality, I mean, they just took it to Waldwick.
I'm going to use the term erupted offensively. Yeah. It was, again, I said at the beginning of the show, the whole atmosphere was just electric there, and they did not disappoint.
No.
Sure. Yeah.
No.
It was fun to watch. Yeah.
And again, that's something where you might have, again, how that shakes out, you're going to have maybe a Westwood versus them, or, a Caldwell versus early on, because there's so many good teams in this bracket. It's not just like, okay, we're going to see a sectional final. I mean, like Jen's saying, you're going to see second round, and then, like battles, like she's saying, like they're sectional final games.
Right.
You're going to see these in the second and third rounds because there's so many good teams.
Just to round it off, I mean, Westwood's they're 5-0. They have 3 more games. They got Ramsey next weekend. Then we have Lakewood Regional. And then the last final game at home will be Richfield Park. So that'll be the last 3 games. I'm expecting them to go 8 and I'm expecting them to go to 8-0, and then we'll take it from there, and we'll see where they see.
Yep.
Like you said, there's a lot more to be played, right? And see where everything kind of falls there.
Absolutely.
It'll be interesting for sure. Yeah.
Robert, I'm looking forward to it. And I said, me and Jen were talking about this other day. We did the playoff preview last year. I said, we got to get Robert on. We broke down the brackets, and it was it was just phenomenal. I mean, I'm so excited. Like you said, they're, the NJIC, which I love. They start their playoffs next week where they take their 4 division winners. So even already starting next week, we're going to have great matchups, playoff atmospheres, playing for championships. It's just, there's nothing like high school football, Robert. There's just,
I'll tell you what, as much as I watch Westwood a lot, I'm thinking I'm going to that Lyndhurst Rutherford game.
Yeah. It's this Saturday.
It's this Saturday, and I advise a lot of people go out to the game, because I'm telling you, you're going to see some hard football. Rutherford is undefeated. Lyndhurst is undefeated. You're going to be seeing the teams of the battle of undefeateds.
And you know what, too? It's, hey, listen, they're probably connected. What are they, about 3 minutes apart?
Right.
So you know what? It's right there.
Yeah.
So again, not that it's bad blood, but it's your neighbor, and it's bragging rights is going to be on there. So that's another thing you're going to add. I mean, I remember going to a Lyndhurst when I was at St. Mary's. We went to a Lyndhurst Rutherford playoff game. It was a first round game, and the place was just jammed. I mean, it was at Rutherford, but Lyndhurst had tons of people. So I think that's what we're going to see. I think we're going to see that this weekend over there.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys having me, because, as much as I watch Westwood and everything, and people go, they have their favorite teams in their towns and everything else. But I just let the audiences know, keep your eye on Westwood, keep your eye on teams like Westwood, Lyndhurst. These are teams that you're going to see them in the playoffs, and you'd be surprised how far they go.
Yeah. And you know what? My last thing, and Jen, I don't know if you have anything else for Robert, but, just the respect that they're getting. What did you say they're ranked number 8?
9.
They're ranked number 9 in the state.
All right. So number 9 in the state. So, I mean, that's including everybody. You're talking about great
public.
team. That's public, right?
Public.
Public. Yeah. But still, I mean, how many teams you got? You know,
Oh,
you're talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
bigger schools, right? You're talking about group
Right,
fives, group
right.
fours. It's not just group twos.
Mhm.
This is everybody. So the respect that they're, and listen, they deserve it.
Yep.
They deserve it.
And just to give correlation, Caldwell's number 5.
Listen, I hope we get that matchup. I
Yeah,
really
they
do.
don't
'Cause I
win it.
remember watching it last year. I hope we get that matchup again.
I hope.
And I
so,
bet
too.
you Westwood probably wants that matchup
They
again,
both
right?
probably do, yeah.
Oh, by the way, I love that comment I made before with you had the interview with Coach about his father. I know Michael very well, and I was just trying to see if his son would say anything about it. But he's his father is the nicest guy in the world, Michael, and
Yep.
even the first family of football in New Jersey, and they that's going to be one heck of a game too, the parochial game. So
Absolutely. And you know what? We were talking about saying Campanelli versus Campanelli. And of course, listen, those guys all do a great job. But we were saying, imagine like he's playing against his nephew.
Right,
You know what I
oh,
mean?
yeah.
Like scheming
Well,
up against his
well,
nephew. And how
you know,
hard
yeah,
is that?
That is hard. And he said, I remember him saying from last time that it was his godson as well. So just that added, you know, I like how he said like brother versus brother.
Yeah,
you know?
it's
like,
nothing,
If I'm
right.
playing against him, you know, but his nephew adds a whole different element. Yeah. So, Robert, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We love hearing you sharing your knowledge with us. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And go Lyndhurst, go Westwood this weekend. Actually, good luck to everyone. And we'll, as we get closer to the playoffs, we'll start talking.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
Get you back. I can't wait to
Yep.
do our playoff preview, but we'll see you before then.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
we'll see you.
absolutely.
We'll see you again soon.
Thank you, Robert.
Take care, guys.
Have a good one.
night.
You too.
All right. Always such a good amount of knowledge from Robert. Love
Yeah, and you
chatting
know
with
what?
him.
That team, you know what's scary? What he said is when he said that's a better team than last year.
I know.
I mean,
right?
because they were a damn good team last
Yeah.
year. But again, Carthage came back, 7 starters back. And what did he say? He's the ace in the hole. I mean, having a guy like that running
Yeah.
that offense, I mean, he's a difference maker on that level. So
Mhm.
listen, that he said they're gonna go 8-0. We're gonna make a pick, but they got Ramsey, but this team,
All right,
they're good.
Let's get into our quick hitters before we bring Kenny in for our official week 5 picks, right?
Yep.
So we got 10 quick hitters. The point is quick, right? So I'm gonna go with my first one is 2-3 West Essex at 0-5 Nutley. This is a little bit of a rivalry. I remember playing at West Essex in basketball, coaching basketball at West Essex. I feel like it's not a typical rivalry, but it's really like a rivalry a little bit. And but I'm going to give, I know Nutley's struggling a little bit this season. I think West Essex evens out their record at 3-3 this week at Nutley.
Yeah, huge effort last week by West Essex, losing, I believe it was
To
2013 to Caldwell.
Mhm.
Big bounce back this week, led by dual threat quarterback Sam Long. I think Westwood bounces back big time.
West Essex.
I'm sorry, what I said?
Westwood.
Yeah.
Got Westwood on the mind.
West Essex. Sorry, I'm going to go 3-1 Columbia at 5-0 PCTI. PCTI last week held Ridgewood to under 100 yards total offense, not just rushing, total offense, 100 yards. Columbia is led by Charlie Morrison and Steve Memo, but PCTI's defense and run game obviously led by Trayshawn Dye. Get it done. Close. PCTI over Columbia. Where you going?
I just think PCTI is just way too strong. Yeah, it's funny as we're getting more into the season and we're in week 5, 6 weeks of action, but we're in week 5. You just see week after week, and I have PCTI in that game as well.
Okay.
My second quick hitter is going to 2-3 Chatham at 3-2 Parsippany Hills. You know what? Parsippany Hills is just like an exciting offensive team right now, and they are just gaining momentum. And I feel like they have a connection on their team that is just helping them with the chemistry on the field. I'm picking Parsippany Hills to move to 4-2.
Yeah, Chatham 2 wins in a row, but last week our guests Cicatelli and Smith, what did they do last week? They only scored 5 total touchdowns between them.
The two of them.
I'm going to go Par Hills, but I think it's going to be big. I like Par Hills a lot. And they're a very dangerous team come playoff time. I'm going to take Par Hills. My second one is going to be Union City 3-1 at 2-3 Irvington. I'm not sure if Dr. John's watching out, but here's Dr. John's Irvington. Irvington quarterback combination receiver to watch. Nasir Ransom to Jazen Shiggs. Union City, though, 3 wins in a row. Running game led by the combination of Elijah Rose and Mark Boyd, I believe, is the difference. Close, low-scoring game, but I'm going to take Union City.
I'm agreeing with you, Coach Valdez and Union City. You know where Union City impressed me? Their opening game loss. I know it's a loss, but they played PCTI in a 13-6, gut it out type of game. And I just think that, I don't know, Irvington's been struggling a little bit more this season. I'm going to give the edge to Union City on the road in Irvington as well.
Okay.
My third one, let me find it on my paper here. Where did it go? 0-3 Bergen Tech at 3-0 Fairlawn. Mr. Calderio, KV's very good friend of the show. This one's for you. Fairlawn goes to 4-0 today with a victory this weekend with a victory over Bergen Tech.
Yeah, Fairlawn's defense hasn't given up more than 14 points in any game this year. I believe they make that stat 14. I'm sorry, they'll make that 4 in a row. They won't give up 14 to Bergen Tech, and Fairlawn will be 4-0. I'm going to go to, I don't even know how I want to introduce this game, but 0-5 Lodi versus 0-5 Garfield. Being a Garfield graduate, being a Garfield football player, there's nothing like playing Garfield Lodi. Never had it 0-5 and 0-5. I could tell you that. Both teams really struggling to score points. Lodi played yesterday. I got to go Garfield in this one. I mean, I don't know. I don't think whoever doesn't win this game is probably not going to win a game, sadly, the rest of the year. I'm going to take Garfield. They're home up at Century Field. Close, but I'm going to go with Coach Santa Croce and Garfield to get it done and get their first win of the year.
Yeah, I mean, you said it best. Hopefully, someone's going to get a win here. And, it's when you're struggling to win, first of all that goes out the window, right? It's one of the rivalry games.
Yep.
So it doesn't even matter what the records are. Like you said before about the, bragging rights type of game here as well. But I'm giving the edge to Garfield. They're home. And I think both teams know it's a winnable game, and that's going to have them both come in hungry, but I'm giving the edge to Garfield as well. My fourth game is 2-3 Elmwood Park at 2-2 Manchester. Listen, we talked about the Bogota game, right? And
Yep.
I just think that is going to fuel those kids. Coach Mulligan does a great job with them over there. And I'm giving them, even up their record, to 3-3 with a win at Manchester.
Yeah,
Coach Mulligan.
Hey, Coach Mulligan, again, it's a tough one last week versus Bogota. Got to bounce back. Manchester, getting a little better with the program. Sean Johnson running back Tyler Guthrop. They're the guys to watch for Manchester. But I just think the combination of quarterback Justin Ferrer and running back Jesse Schratz are going to be too much for Elmwood Park. A close one. I think Elmwood Park pulls away late, but I'm going to take Elmwood Park and Coach Mulligan. I am going to go with 3-2 Eastside against, I'm going to use the word disappointing, 1-3 Ridgewood, Jen. Ridgewood's quarterback, Gavin McCrone, with that wing T, Delaware, he's going to run it. He's going to throw it. But Eastside's got a good running back, and Xavier Suarez. I'm not sure if I'm saying the name right, but listen, you know what? I don't know. I'm not big on Ridgewood this year. I'm not. Eastwood had some big wins, big comeback versus Clifton a couple of weeks ago. I think they go into Ridgewood, Jen, and I think they beat Ridgewood. I'm going to go Eastside.
All right. I'm going to go opposite you here. I think that they are, I think they're going to at home. I know they've had some disappointing losses this season. It's like kind of not the Ridgewood that we are maybe used to. But I think they're going to get back on track, and I'm picking Ridgewood to win this one at home. My last one is, why did I just lose it?
Hawthorne Saddle.
All right. Thank you. Is an NJEC Meadowlands division that has really big implications. Right. So I think we talked about it a little bit last week, right? So we have 3-1 Hawthorne at 1-3 Saddlebrook. Right now, Pompton Lake sits atop that division at 3-1, right? We have Hawthorne at 2-1 and Hasbrouck Heights at 2-1, right? Depending how things play out, we could potentially have we could have an outright winner after this weekend. We could have a two-way tie or three-way tie, right? Yeah. The two-way tie would go head-to-head, which would give us the outright winner. But so this does have implications. I'm going with Coach Bissaro's senior heavy team, Hawthorne.
Yeah, shocker last week. Hawthorne only 170 total yards versus Heights. I just think Cormac Smith, we saw them in person, huge bounce back. They take it to Saddlebrook. I think Hawthorne gets the job done. And my last quick hitter before we get to our picks that, for our records and stuff. 4-1 Vernon, 4-1 Lakeland. The combination of Vernon running back, combination of running back combo, Logan, Syke, and Franco Luna. But Lakeland, we always pick against Lakeland and they get it done. But I'm sorry, I'm gonna go Lakeland here. I'm not gonna get sucked into not taking them. I just think too much offensively. A little higher scoring game. I'm, something like a 28-21. I'm going to take Lakeland.
See, I think Vernon is going to have a little too much offensively for Lakeland. They're putting
Okay.
serious points.
That's good. That's good. I think we're going to have a lot of different picks on this board
but that
tonight.
one doesn't get counted.
No,
So this one, if all this kind of sways true, I know.
Yeah.
I like when we have the differences. Is right. All right. So there we have it. So I'm picking Vernon, and that's our last quick hitter. So if you want to bring in Mr. Kirkpatrick,
I'm bringing in Mr. Kirkpatrick.
I will bring in our picks. What? Oh, perfect. That's
there
just
we
how
go.
we want it. Hello, Mr. Kirkpatrick. How are you?
Hey, Jen. Hey, Kurt.
Mr. Kirkpatrick, you look like Deion Sanders wearing the sunglasses tonight. And
well, we're gonna get to some picks, but you see the color on there, and we'll get to that.
There he goes.
All right, guys.
All right.
So let's start to roll through these. Our first.
How about
one,
last week's records?
Oh, you know what? I gotta be honest. I can't find my paper. I'll keep looking as we're doing this.
She can't find the paper.
I don't know if that's. Oh no.
I think I was 13-2, right? Kurt was 10-6 or 10-5.
No, it was
5-10
there
rather.
was a
I
game
should
that
say.
I had that was played later.
Did I win last
Yeah,
week?
you won. I think you were 11-4. I'm missing a game though. That's the thing. So you were 11-4, and Kenny and I were each 10-5. Yeah, but I didn't do the totals overall.
Just pull one a week, and it just gets to 3 and 4
Kenny,
and 5
I have a
and
feeling
6.
we're gonna have some differences.
Oh
here.
yeah, we're
Mr.
having
Valenci's
differences
dropping
tonight.
all these types of hints.
Let's go.
That he's done some. I don't know if they're upsets. I don't know. He said we're gonna be surprised here. All right, let's start off here. We have 0-5 St. Peter's Prep at 1-4 Don Bosco. Kenny, who do you have?
Jen, I'm gonna go Bosco here. I'm gonna give you a score too in each game, but Bosco, I think St. Peter's is having one of those struggling years, so I'm gonna take Bosco, who's also struggling, 27-14 in this.
All right.
Get their second win of the
I
year.
agree. I'm going Don Bosco as well. I've been a little, I know 0-5, tough competition, but I've been a little down on St. Peter's, so I'm going Bosco on this one. Kurt?
Yeah, listen, Bosco, 3-game losing streak. I think that streak's going to end behind the running game led by Logan Bush from Bosco. I think Bosco takes this loss out. Bosco gets back on track. Bosco beats St. Peter's Prep.
All right, we have next 2-2 Hasbrouck Heights at 1-3 North Arlington. Kenny?
Kurt told me you mentioned the rules with the 3 teams and how they got to score. So Heights is going to be on autopilot in this one, and they're going to win 35-14 over North Arlington. Question will be, is that going to be enough points?
So the this is one of those games that has NJAC Meadowlands Division implications, like we mentioned before. Hasbrouck Heights, you need some other things to happen, but they definitely need to win. I'm picking Hasbrouck Heights.
Yeah, again, what it is I believe the
Points
number is
against.
23, right?
Yeah.
Is it 23?
It's allowed?
Yeah, it's points
against.
allowed. Coach Catrona, Woodridge head
Yeah.
coach, hooked us up and he said it's points allowed. So I believe the numbers, they have to win and not give up more than 23 points. Their running game, Jake Summers, and they have a dual threat quarterback, Frankie Billings there. But listen to this. Defensively, Jay Formasano, 16 tackles last week. I think that defense led by Formasano gets it done, and Heights is going to be dangerous if they get in that NJIC playoff.
All right, our next game is 2-3 Clifton at 2-3 Passaic. Kenny?
Jen, I'm going to take Clifton here, 27-21, but against a pesky Passaic team who almost pulls off.
All right, I'm picking Clifton as well. I know they have back-to-back losses, but they played Eastside closely, and their loss to Delbarton, though lopsided, is the type of game that makes them better. So I'm going Clifton.
Yeah, Clifton, again, after 2 wins, they get 2 losses, right? They got to become more, what's the word I'm looking for? Consistent. They got to be more consistent, and they need to get their passing game. Last game, I think they were like 4 for 10, not good in the pass game, but I think they get back on track. A close game. Listen, Passaic's coming back a little bit, little rivalry there, right? Neighborhood. I'm going to take Clifton in a close one. By the way, Kenny, Coach Breslin saying what's up.
Hey, Coach, how you
All
doing?
right, our next one is 2-3 Ramsey at undefeated 5-0 Westwood.
I would love to take Coach Bear, great supporter of the show, since day one. I just think they're in a rebuilding year for them. And, Westwood, I think, is going to be too tough for them here. What Ramsey keeps it close and respectable. I'm going to say 28-14 Westwood.
Today is the 1-year anniversary of our live pregame at Ramsey when they
For
took
Westwood.
on Westwood. Yep, when I know Coach Bear was in that game was, the victim of some injuries on his squad. Ramsey's had some ups and downs. He's gotten them back on track, but I agree. Westwood, as Robert had said earlier, outscoring opponents 183-19. He mentioned the defense, but the offense is putting up over 36 points per game. They've only scored under 30 on one occasion. I think Westwood just has too much. I'm picking Westwood.
Yeah, Ramsey, 2 wins in a row. Coach Bear got him back. Different game, led by quarterback Aiden Sweeney, but when they get Luca Gemma there and he's healthy, he's a difference maker on that field. He's getting healthy, and you're seeing it the past couple weeks. Westwood, 3 shutouts this year. Carthage last week, over 150 total yards. I love Coach Bear. I think Coach Bear is going to have this team ready to play. I think it's going to be close early, but I just think Westwood's going to be a little too much. I'm going to say they pull away in the second half. Carthage and Dugan, too much in the run game. I'm going to take Westwood.
Okay. Our next one is, by the way, we have all the same picks, Kenny. I don't know when Kurt's shockers are coming, but they're coming.
Mine are too.
Right.
Just a little spoiler.
Separation,
There you
right?
go.
All right. The next one is 3-1 Pompton Lakes at 3-1 Butler.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to have some agreement here. I don't know if everybody's going to agree here, but Butler to me is the best team not in the playoffs. I'm going to take Butler big in this one. Show that they should have been in the playoffs. They could have beaten Park Ridge last week. I'm going 28-13.
I'm picking Butler as well. They played just how you said, Kenny. I mean, they played that way last week, right? A close loss to Park Ridge, 14-10. I'm picking Butler as well.
I agree with Kenny. Best team not in it is Butler. I saw them. They got their quarterback, Bobby Badapetti. Kid's a stud, runs it, throws it. Pompton's good too, man. They got great balance. They could throw it. They could run it. They run it with Justin Bolt. My mistake. Was this Tracy Ann's birthday this week?
I think it was last week.
Last week.
Oh,
Tracy Ann.
Spoiler number 1.
Happy birthday. I'm still picking against you. Butler beats Pompton Lakes.
All right. Our next one is 4-0 Hanover Park at 4-0 Caldwell.
All right, you ready? Mark this down. Streak ends here. Hanover Park beats Caldwell 17-14.
Get sis. Do you have a what's that called? A thermometer in your house? I guess you got a fever. Get sis to test you.
You know what though? Hanover Park is that team that always remember their state tournament run.
No, I know. I'm joking.
Yeah.
Aren't they undefeated, or was I looking
they're
at the wrong
undefeated.
records?
And
Okay.
well coached, good history program. Always come state tournament time, make a run. I just still think, I think Caldwell gets win number 33.
Listen, Hanover Park's a legit team. They ran for over 300 yards over Mountain Lakes, a perennial powerhouse Mountain Lakes led by Joey Borello. But the Caldwell D, Joey Marinello and Julian Casal. I think we're heading for a Westwood Caldwell. I think it's going to happen again, both undefeated. I think this is close, close. Maybe they'll, just like last week, 7-point win over West Essex, but I'm going to go with Caldwell.
All righty. Our next one is Donovan Catholic at St. Joe's of Montvale.
Well, here's where Kurt may say I may have 105 fever, because here's where Donovan Catholic shows they belong, and they get put on the map in this one, and they're going to win 28-22. at
Well, we
St.
have
Joe.
Donovan Catholic that competes in the Shore Conference, traveling here to North Jersey, right? So we've got, the non-publics, North and South facing off. They're ranked number 1 in the power rankings right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Donovan.
Donovan Catholic, yeah. But you know what? I'm going to stick with our North Jersey, number 2 in the state, St. Joe's and Montvale.
Yeah, Donovan's going to try to get their ground going. They're led by Najee Calhoun. But check this out last week. St. Joe's of Montvale and Coach Brian Gibbs' offense. They had over 500 yards of total offense. 500. Okay. Grusser, Sumter, Forrester, Willis. I mean, this offense is loaded. I can't see how Donovan Catholic's going to keep up with them on the scoreboard. You said Donovan Catholic was number 1.
Yeah,
They won't be this. They won't be this week. St. Joe's of Montville beats them. Again, close for a quarter, but I just think too many weapons for St. Joe's.
All right, our next one is another battle of 2 undefeateds. This is a Morris County matchup. We have 5-0 Roxbury at 5-0 Mount Olive.
Not gonna lie, I don't know too much about Roxbury. I know Mount Olive's been on the picks a couple weeks this year, so I'm gonna go Mount Olive 21-14.
You know what? These 2 teams, matching up, they've played a lot of similar opponents in a lot of similar fashion. I'm giving the edge to Mount Olive, being the home team.
I need you to do something for me because Kenny said he doesn't know much about Roxbury.
Okay.
If I say a night at the Roxbury, you got to do it. Do it. There's the nod. Remember a night at the Roxbury? There it is. You know what? Mountain Lake's phenomenal turnaround from 1-9 to 5-0. Coach has them going over there. But Mount Olive.
You said Mountain Lakes.
Oh, Mount Olive.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm all over the board tonight.
Too many teams.
But Anthony Skawanski from Roxbury makes a play late. Roxbury beats Mount Olive, ends that undefeated streak, and Roxbury goes to 6-0.
All righty. Okay. Our next one, Kenny, is 3-2 Woodridge at 2-3 St. Mary's.
Why Kurt would put this game on here, I don't know. Got to pick one of these 2, but I did adopt Woodridge at the beginning of the year, so by that, I got to go Woodridge in a close one, 20-14.
That's good, Kenny. You're sticking with your fan. I like that. Don't bail. I like that.
You know what? This is I feel like so it is. It's don't I always say these are the 2 coaches I would love to play for?
Yeah.
Right? I do. I say it all. Listen, a lot of coaches on our program that I would love to play for. But if I could be in a pregame with these coaches getting me ready to play, I just love what they do. I hemmed and hawed. I went back and forth. It was the last game that I picked, and it's one of those things you can't have them both. But I'm giving the slight edge to Woodridge here. I think St. Mary's is again maybe 1 year away from getting to that next getting over that hump. So I'm going to go Woodridge.
Yeah, listen, I don't want to pick this game. 2 great friends, Coach Catrona, Coach Johnson, 2 great teams, 2 great programs. But quarterback James Masucci is the key here. Right, you're going to see a lot of quarterback runs from Woodridge, I believe, this week from Coach Catrona. St. Mary's had a little trouble stopping it 2 weeks ago with Butler. It's how much can St. Mary's get that defense? Because that's what they're going to do. They're going to line up, snap it. You gain the extra guy, 3 yards, 4 yards. I think Woodridge is going to play a slower pace game. St. Mary's got athletes all over the field, right? We got Owens, you got Murkison, you got BJ Cunningham, White, just athletes all over it. They're home. I just, with that style, it all comes down to, can St. Mary's play defense? I think they do. I think Coach Johnson gets that signature win against a real good Woodridge team. Listen, both of these teams can win. They're both good teams. But I just, I think they what's the word? Athletic them one by one player in a play. I'm going to take I'm sorry, Coach Catrona. I love you. Coach Johnson, I'm waiting for that signature win. I think it's going to be this week.
I had that in my notes. I couldn't read my handwriting. That my, St. Mary's can score, I felt like, and Woodridge is a little better at stopping, and that's kind of what ultimately pushed me over to Woodridge. All right, in our next matchup, another 2 undefeated teams, this time from the NJAC Union Division, 4-0 Bogota at 3-0 Weehawken.
Don't know much about Weehawken, Jen. Bogota, I know, played and beat a well-coached, well-organized team there in Elmwood Park. So I'm going to take Bogota because of that 27-20 with the road victory.
I'm going Bogota as well. This one is for first place in that division, so I think they get the win on the road.
Yeah, Woodridge, quarterback Christian Ramirez, very good.
Woodridge.
Weehawken. I'm all over the place tonight. Weehawken. Thank you for doing that.
You're
I was
welcome.
like
You're welcome.
that. Christian Ramirez and a good running game for Weehawken. But the Bogota quarterback, Joseph, again, the name, Purpa Pal, threw it for 137, ran it for 189, three total touchdowns versus Elmwood Park. Close, but I'm going to go with Bogota. A little more experience. I think Bogota gets this done and stays undefeated and atop the division.
All right. Our next one is 3-2 Paramus Catholic at 3-1 Delbarton.
I think you know where I'm going here. The OGs, right? The Delbarton, the original adopted team. The ODT right there. So I'm going to take Delbarton in a high-scoring game because PC can score points. 38-27. And there's an under-the-radar team in the parochials.
I am going Delbarton as well. I think Paramus Catholic has had a nice turnaround this season, but I don't think they're quite ready to play with that upper echelon in the non-publics just yet. And I think Delbarton, third in the power rankings right now in non-public A, gets it done at home.
Paramus Catholic played with DePaul last week, which was nice. 28-12. Hey, no shame in that. You know how good DePaul's number 3 in the state. Great balance. Crew Cologne throwing it. Xavier Williams running the ball. Delbarton, huge win at Clifton. I mean, not just because it was a big win. They just dominated that game. I think it was 44-7. But I'm taking Paramus Catholic, guys. I'm taking the speed, the athleticism. I think they can get enough stops, and can Delbarton stop this attack from Paramus Catholic? I'm taking Coach Russo and Paramus Catholic.
All right, our next matchup is 2-2 Glen Rock at 3-1 Becton. Kurt and I will not be picking this game because weather permitting, of course. We're hoping we're going to be live at Becton's field. But Kenny, who do you have in this one?
I got Becton winning a close one by a field goal, 23-20, and I'm calling this Becton's going to win at home on All In on High School.
Okay.
All right, our next one is, again, 2 undefeated teams. We've got Lyndhurst, the recently crowned Liberty Division champ in the Liberty Division of the NJIC, I should say. Rutherford, undefeated at 4-0 in the Colonial Division of the NJIC, squaring off here. Kenny, who do you have?
All right, I'm going to make my pick real quick then I'm going to give Coach Toro, in case he's listening, 5 seconds to mute because I don't want him to hear the reason that my philosophy on how to do it. So Lyndhurst is going to win. I'll give Coach Toro 5 seconds to mute in case he's listening. All right, Lyndhurst is going to win 29-28. Coach Toro goes for 2 on the road and wins instead of going to 6. Lyndhurst pulls off the victory, and Coach Toro gets his biggest win of biggest coaching decision and succeeds.
I like it.
29.
Nice,
I like
nice. All right.
I didn't want him to hear that prediction if he was listening.
All right. This is another one that was a tough one for me to pick. I was so impressed with Lyndhurst last week when we watched them live. I just don't know. Coach Toro, I'm sorry, but I'm picking Rutherford.
Okay. Rutherford, Kenny, hasn't scored less than 28 in a game this year. Quarterback, Chris Gaiola. He could run it. He could throw it. Dual weapon. Ryan Ward. Unbelievable. Division I athlete. Might be the best player on that field. Might be the best player in the NJIC. And now you got to deal with a kid, Cole Gomez, last year, a punt return and a kickoff return for a touchdown. Go on the other side, though, you got Roddy Moreno. We knew he was good. We saw him in person. This kid's an absolute stud. 78 receiving yards, touchdown, 134 rushing, 2 touchdowns, and 12 tackles on defense. We may see this game in a couple of weeks because right now I think Lyndhurst plays Park Ridge, and then Rutherford would play whoever comes out of the other side. I really think this might be the championship of the NJIC. Does Lyndhurst show everything? I'm taking Rutherford in this one. Lyndhurst could easily win this game. I'm telling you right now. But I'm going to take Rutherford at home.
Great point that this could be seen in 2 weeks. You know?
Robert's saying 28-24,
Right.
Lyndhurst.
Predicting a close
So we
one.
might see this another week, Kenny. For this one, I'm going to take Rutherford.
I hope so.
All right. Our next
I hope so.
matchup, 4-0 Ramapo at 4-1 Northern Highlands.
This is my game of the week, Jen, and this may be the first time on record that I'm going to go against Ramapo. I'm going to take Northern Highlands at home in a high-scoring, close game, 35-31.
This has turned, I mean, I know neighboring towns, right, close by. It's, you know, I don't want to know. I feel like it's developed into a rivalry, whether it was
just
before.
great game after great game after great game.
Because the last 3 games, Northern Highlands has won in 3 close contests. You know, in 2021, Ramapo moved to Group 4. Now they see each other in state tournament competition, right? So prior to those 3 Northern Highlands victories, I feel like there were very lopsided Ramapo wins up to that point. But you know what? Ramapo is outscoring opponents 176-34. They have 3
You think that's
shutouts.
pretty good?
That's decent, you know? Yeah. I just think that this year, all that pent up back-to-back losses to Northern Highlands, they avenge. I'm going Ramapo on this one.
Anthony Mataloni, Ramapo 28-21. His questions for you, Kenny. Who wins in a fight? Coach Siciliano or a hurricane?
I want to answer that.
That's easy. That's
Coach
Coach
Sis, hands down.
Coach Sis might be the hurricane. All right. Let me get to
Hurricane
this.
Sis.
Ramapo, no points allowed in their last 3 games. That's pretty damn good. Landon DePrima, if you haven't seen him, absolute damn flat out stud. You got to see this kid. He's saying the Hurricane's name is Dicka. So Landon DePrima, flat out stud. You know, every time though Northern Highlands plays them, though, they give Ramapo fits, whether it's defensively. You know, Ramapo's been having a little trouble defending them. Mataloni, put your headphones off.
Ooh.
I've gone Ramapo the last 3 times. My heart says Ramapo. Maybe if I go the other way, Ramapo gets it done. I'm taking Northern Highlands here.
That's
I'm
what I was
taking
thinking,
Northern
Kurt.
Highlands here.
We're
I'm
thinking
taking
alike.
Northern Highlands.
We're thinking alike, Kurt. We're thinking
there's
alike.
a couple more I can gain on Kurt here. All right.
Hope I'm wrong.
All right. And
but-
our guest tonight, Coach Nick Campanelli and his DePaul Catholic Spartans travel to Bergen Catholic. 2-2 DePaul at 4-1 Bergen Catholic. Kenny?
Jen, true story. I was obviously listening to the show tonight. Got my picks right here in front. I had Bergen Catholic 38-31 over DePaul, but I'm flip-flopping. After hearing Coach Campanelli and those 2 young men, I'm going with the huge upset of the year. DePaul wins Battle of the Campanelli 38-31. I'm flip-flopping live. Flip-flopping my pick. And I'm going
Mataloni
DePaul.
saying, don't ever go against the family, Coach Fredo.
I love all his quotes. That's great.
Psychology, Aunt. Psychology.
I don't know. You know, Kurt threw me with a good question, like who's this is a bigger game for who. But you know what? I love how it was Nolan who said, you know what, I've played in a lot of big games, and he's like, I'm just like any other game. You know, it's a game. I mean, he's, you know, serious about it, going in and focused on it. But you know what? I'm giving the edge to Bergen Catholic on this one. I think I'm going to, until they prove me wrong, I'm going to use that, you know, my coaching mentality of that tough opening season loss, just fueling them the rest of the way. They have their minds made up on goals. I'm going with Bergen Catholic in this one.
DePaul had an opening season loss too.
I know, but a little bit different. Like the, you know, you got Bergen Catholic, you know, traveling down, playing a team high ranked in the country,
Okay.
a little different stage, and getting.
Just wanted to push you on the spot.
Yeah.
You answered it good. All right. Kenny, Jen, I truly, and I'm not just saying this because Coach Campanelli, I truly believe these are the 2 best teams in the state. I know St. Joe's might argue. They just are. All right. You talk about triplets and stars in this game. Zammit, James, Jones, Campanelli, Sanders, Porter. Watch out for this kid. I'm telling you, I mentioned him last week. Dante Kane. He's a sophomore running back from Bergen Catholic. Kenny, if you haven't seen him, go YouTube him or go on Twitter. Kid's going to be a beast. Okay. Campanelli versus Campanelli. And I'm telling you right now, book it. DePaul. We'll have Coach Campanelli on. Parochial B champs. Red Bank. They're coming. They're going. They'll be your Group B champs.
Now I can just see Coach.
I know.
Campanelli.
But I'm calling it now because I don't want to hear who. Don't even ask me parochial B. DePaul's winning that bracket. Okay, because DePaul has a legit shot to be the #1 team in the state this week. #1. I just can't do it. I can't do it. It's at home. If this game was at DePaul, I'm picking DePaul. But I think at home, Saturday, this game is going to be like one play. But these are the best 2 teams in the state. I'm telling you right now. I wouldn't be shocked at all if DePaul beat this team. I think this is the only team. And I'm going to say this, Jen. Kenny, I'm on record. This will be the closest game that anybody gets to Bergen Catholic in New Jersey this year. This will be the closest score. Take Joe's. Bosco again. This will be the closest game. It's going to be like this close.
Okay.
I'm taking Bergen. I can't go against them, but I just have a feeling DePaul could win this game. But I'm going to take Bergen for the show.
All right. There you have it. Our week 5 picks. Kenny, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate you having me. Glad I had a Tuesday off to hang out with you guys.
All right. Well, we got a full slate of things the rest of the week.
Absolutely.
So be sure to tune in. And thank you, everybody, for watching.
See you guys Friday night from Becton.